Alright, so in my last video I talked about some advice I personally would give beginner lifters. I just talked about like motivation and discipline and things along that nature. So I mean, as you can see, I'm on my way to the gym at the moment. I gotta go get gas first. Going with a buddy of mine tonight, which is great. I do like working out with people. It is nice to have someone there to push you basically, and help spot you and just kind of like help you during your workout. I mean, sometimes I really don't want to go, but even on those times I still go, of course. But on the days I end up lifting with someone, and I just happen to not want to go, it makes me want to go a little bit more, which is good. I do enjoy that. Now, my personal opinion on, I guess, lifting with someone else is, it's good. They can spot you if you're trying to go for a PR, or they could push you by, giving you assisted reps if that's something that you're into and that you like doing. I personally love assisted reps. It really helps me get that good squeeze. Puts me past failure when versus like doing it solo. It's like you can only do so much. For back, it's especially with back and legs, or honestly, like anything really, but like especially with back, I really like having someone assisting me on lat pull downs, because I can only go so far before my biceps start activating. Those first several reps, I do get a good contraction and a good squeeze on my lats. But eventually it's just like my back starts fatiguing, and then my body just naturally transitions to using a good chunk of my biceps, which is unfortunate. But something that is nice, however, is having a buddy there, or just asking someone in the gym, like, hey, can you spot me real quick, or hey, can you give me assisted reps? It's always good, because you can no matter how much assist you actually need, you get those really good contractions you normally can't get. So if I myself get to failure on lat pull downs, and I have someone else start assisting me on the reps, it makes it a little bit easier, because I can keep going past my fatigue point, past failure, which I love doing. I preach going past failure. You got to do your warm-ups, of course, but it's like anything outside of that, most exercises I don't really have like a set amount of reps. I mean, sometimes, I want to go a little bit lighter, so I'll count my reps. Other times it's just like, just let me go to failure. Let me go past failure. Because, if you think about it, really, that's where the real gains happen, Get some gas real quick. Alright, got a little over half a tank. It was almost almost empty. So, I get paid tomorrow, so I'm fine. Figured I'd just give it a little bit of gas. But anyway, like I was saying, failure. I do preach failure, because I believe that's where the real gains happen. I mean, let's be honest. It's people, they could if you're gonna do 3 sets, 12 reps. I mean, that's probably the most popular like regimen done. You know, it's 3 sets, 12 reps, and then people call it a day. Which, I mean, yeah, that's, you know, that's nice. That is what I used to do. I did, in fact, used to do 3 sets, 12 reps, and then even if I had stuff left in the tank, I just, you know, I didn't know what I was doing, and I would just literally end it at 12 reps. Now, however, you know, if I want a good contraction, I mean, yeah, you know, good squeeze, you just go a little bit lighter. And, you know, sometimes, especially with arms, I do like doing that with arms, and sometimes back too. I notice if I'm going a little bit lighter on back, I don't get so much bicep activation. But, you know, I still for the most part, I'll go to failure. And that's, you know, that's when the muscle it's completely fatigued. You know, you got muscle fibers, you know, they're ripping, tearing apart at failure. I mean, if you're going to go ahead and do 3 sets, 12 reps, you know, that's, you know, if it works for you, if it's going to work for you. I mean, it might not work for everyone, but I mean, someone who's just trying to just kind of like tone out a little bit, that'll probably work. But I mean, if you're trying to, you know, gain some mass, you know, body build a little bit, you know, get some strength in, then that's when you go to failure. Like Tom Platt said, I think it was, you know, failure is where you win. Something like that is, I don't know, it's a popular video. It's like, you know, with David Hoffman, I think is his name. And they're doing leg day, and then David's doing squats. And then at some point, you know, David kind of like ends his set a little bit early. Which, I mean, you know what happens. But he ended his set a little bit early, and then Tom Platt said, you know, you still had more left in the tank or whatever, and then went on about this real popular quote where it's like, you have to achieve failure, you know, failure is where the winning happens, something like that. But I mean, it's true, you know, if you want gains, if you want to get big, if you want, you know, strength, if you want to gain mass, that's, you know, that's where you got to go. And as much as it sucks, it's, you know, you kind of got to do it. But I love it though. I love getting the good squeezing and the blood flow. Just especially on arm day going to failure, or at least very close. His arms, you know, it's a little bit iffy. Yeah, with arms, I think it's a little bit iffy, especially in biceps. But you know, bicep tears happen probably more often than they really should. So people ego lifting or just pushing themselves way too far, or just, you know, ego lifting or just heavy weight in general, incorrect form. You know, not having good, just straight bicep activation. Which, I mean, you know, it's cool. It's nice to, you know, do straight bicep activation, and then once you can't really lift it up anymore, then you just, you know, use your momentum. If you use your momentum, you're gonna get that little bit left in the tank. You know, you do that, it's gonna, you know, really fatigue your biceps, and that is something I do enjoy doing, especially as of recent with standing bicep curls. Whew. You know, I wasn't really a fan of those until recent, and I'd probably have to say it's something like Sam. I know Sam Sulek does it, and you know, I do watch him. I mean, part of the reason why I'm doing this is it's kind of like motivating to me. I mean, you know, I don't expect too much out of this, whether or not people view my videos. I mean, I'm not really editing them. I mean, at some point I'll probably cut in some clips of me, you know, working out, but nothing too fancy. I mean, I also just don't, you know, I want to share my advice and my opinion, and, you know, lifting and just things in general. I mean, I'm only 19, so don't don't take me too serious unless you really want to. But yeah, when I started watching him and I saw how he did, his standing bicep curls, he just, regular good bicep contraction, and then eventually once it started getting harder for him, he, swing his body weight into it. And I tried it, I really did enjoy it. It was pretty nice to get those last few reps I otherwise probably wouldn't have gotten. I've gotten some good arm pumps from that. I mean, pretty serious pumps. But I mean, arms, it is a little bit iffy going to failure on, or at least past failure. But you do want to get as close as you can. I mean, if you're just going to sit there and do 10 reps and it's like nothing, you can just, I mean, if you could do like 5 or 10 more, but you stop at 10, I mean, that's not going to do too much. I mean, it's gonna work the muscle, but it's not gonna, like, your body's not gonna want to grow it, and you're not gonna get some serious mass, just for the whole scientific reason that when you go to failure, your body realizes, hey, wait a minute, I can't keep pushing this weight. I can't keep benching this weight. I mean, it doesn't know what a bench is. It just knows muscles are being worked. It doesn't really know what weight is. All it knows is eventually, I can't keep doing what the muscle's supposed to be doing. So that's when it knows, okay, so we got to get some strength and some mass going. So we're going to take all these proteins that you're consuming. I hope you are. At least I know I am. All the protein hitting your macros every day. I mean, if you're hitting your macros, you're on a high protein diet, and you're lifting, and you're training real intense, going to failure, doing your cardio. With all that being said, your body's going to realize, okay, it's going to get to a certain point. So, like, okay, this muscle, it can't keep going. It can't lift this. I mean, it doesn't know what lifting is, but it knows it can't do it. That's all it knows. So then that's when it's, I think it's called muscle hypertrophy. I don't know too much on the scientific terms, but that's when your body knows, like, okay, here, we gotta get strength and mass going. Otherwise, I mean, your body's built for survival. Obviously, most people aren't surviving. I mean, some people are, unfortunately. It is unfortunate, but most people aren't, surviving in the wild. They don't have to worry about fighting, climbing and jumping and running and all that good stuff. But that's what your body's meant to do. So, at some point it's gonna realize, it's like, okay, we gotta grow muscle here. We gotta get better endurance. Whatever you're training for, your body's gonna eventually realize, okay, we gotta change something. Otherwise, it's gonna think, get injured. Something bad could happen. I mean, for all your body knows, when you're benching, it can think. I mean, it probably doesn't think this, but a tiger could be on you or something, a bear, or a large animal that's trying to kill you, and it's like, oh, you're trying to push it away, oh, benching. I mean, it doesn't know what benching is, of course. It doesn't know how heavy weight is. It doesn't know any of that. It just knows it can't do it, and that's really all that matters. That's kind of what going to failure is all about. Which, like I said, I believe it's muscle hypertrophy. I gotta look up the definition on it. I'm not too familiar with the scientific terms. I just know it's from general research I did a while ago, and just things I picked up on here and there, and like from my own experience. But I do preach failure a lot. I really do. It's good for you. But yeah, I mean, yeah, back to lifting with a buddy. I mean, if you're lifting with a buddy, and he or she or they can push you past failure, past what you normally can do, you're gonna probably have a good series pump. And I know sometimes I do, but then there's other times where it's like, oh, I just want to get in and kind of get out. I don't really want to stick around and, hang out. I mean, some people with their lifting buddies are in the gym 3-4 hours. I mean, that's, if you have nothing better to do and you're not overtraining, go for it. Just spend some time in there. But sometimes I'm just like, just want to get in, get my shit done, and get out. I don't always want to lift with someone else. And I do believe you can have good, hard working sets, and you can push yourself to failure or past failure. By yourself. But I do believe that, and there are times where it's like, crazy pump that I achieved, and then there's other times where it's you're lifting with a buddy. It's like, oh, that's a good pump too. But I mean, some people they go lift with someone, they're working out, and then they take, they could be talking 5 minutes in between each set. Well, in those 5 minutes, your muscle's completely recovered, and then it's the blood's kind of flowing out of there, so then you go back into it, some blood's back in there. It's like, it's kind of iffy, whereas if you're training by yourself and you take the proper rest time between each set, at least a minute, 2 minutes, and you're working by yourself, you're gonna have the constant blood flow. I mean, for like chest, especially chest, for me at least, if I were to stop working chest, say I do chest flies, right? I say I do chest flies. I do say I do 2 sets. I did my rest time. I did warm up too. Let's just say that. Say I warmed up, then I did 2 working sets. So if I stop for 10 minutes, pump's kind of going away. Whatever pump there could be. Blood's kind of flowing out of there. Your body's like, okay, this muscle's good. It's not doing too much else, not working anything. And then boom, you hit it real heavy again, as your last working set. Yeah, you're gonna hit it, but I just feel like you don't have as best strength as you could to properly hit that set. I mean, like, say you're doing 100-pound flies, whether it's cable flies or you're sitting down on a pec deck, whatever it could be. If you're gonna do those 2 sets, good heavy working set, and your proper warm-ups, you take a break for 10 minutes and then you get back into it. I just feel like it's kind of like losing its value. I feel like, especially if you're just like wasting time, you might as well not even be lifting. At least that's my opinion on it. It is nice though to go and lift with someone. Like I said, I'm not against it. That is how I started out. I didn't ever really go by myself, just because I was kind of like, uncomfortable. I didn't really know what to do. Without guidance, I was kind of like a lost puppy dog. And my uncle was the one who got me started, into lifting. Because I had mentioned to my mom, maybe about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I wanna get healthier. I wanna lose some weight. And then she, my uncle, he's been lifting for a couple years now. He's only like a year or 2 older than me, and he's also my mom's brother. So, but yeah, my mom relayed that to her brother, my uncle, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go to the gym with me? I'll show you, how to do stuff. Hit it. Figured, yeah, why not? Let's give it a shot." So I gave it a shot. I didn't really like it too much. It was way out of my comfort zone. It hurt. I was sore. I was uncomfortable. I just didn't like any of it. And I was in the gym like 3 at the latest 4 hours with him, but that's also because we did take, a few minutes between each set sometimes, maybe even a little longer for just talking. And then, he also would have to like show me how to do the exercises first. So then he would show me, I would do it, he'd correct me, and then I'd do my 3 sets. So it took a while. Excuse me. But that's how I started, lifting. And even after I stopped like going, because eventually I did just like kind of stop going completely with him. It's like I went solid for 2-3 months, maybe a little bit longer with him. It was only a couple times a week. I did see some good progress, like not necessarily like muscle wise. I wasn't exactly like losing weight or anything. Mostly because I just still kind of did my thing. I wasn't really dieting or doing cardio. I just like went a couple times a week with him. But I did see some like general improvements on like, okay, I could do a pull-up. That's something that I couldn't do before. And that's actually something I just recently was able to do again, because since last time I worked out with him, like when he first introduced it to me, I was like 225 maybe. And then at my heaviest last year, I was 257. So in that time frame, especially between having just completely stopped lifting and then, complete crap diet, shit diet, wasn't doing cardio. And then I was also working at Chipotle too, funnily enough. So it's, working there, I'd get out of school, I'd go there before my shift, I'd eat, because you get a free meal and you get a 50% discount one meal. You get the free meal when you work, and then you can use your 50% anytime you want at once a day. So I'd get my free meal, and then typically I'd get a 50% meal. I'd get a half off meal. If I worked long enough, I'd take a break, I'd get my 50% meal, and then I'd get back to work. And then, I was a closer, so by the time I got off work, sometimes I'd take home food. They didn't really care too much if I made myself some food before leaving. Depending on who the cashier was, I sometimes have to pay for it. Other times they're just like, just take it. So, that's like 3 separate meals, all within a span of a few hours. And, I'd load up my bowl or burrito, easily 2,000 calories each. So that's at least, at the very least 4,000. And then at the very highest, if not more, at the very max, about 6,000 just from Chipotle. I was working there about a year and a half. So, but yeah, that's how I got to 257. And then eventually, during that time frame, however, I did start going again, but I wasn't exactly focused on my diet or anything. I was just kind of going, just, lifting for fun. Sorry, I was trying to gauge the traffic to turn. But yeah, I was just kind of like not really lifting for fun. I just started, I decided probably, if I had to guess, maybe like 5 or 6 months after I stopped lifting with my uncle, that I figured, fuck it, let's buy a gym membership. And I figured to myself, if I stop relying on other people to get me in, swipe me into the gym, aka my uncle, then, sorry, I had someone text me. But yeah, so about like 5 or 6 months after I stopped lifting, I bought a gym membership. And I just kind of figured, well, if I buy one, I'm not going to want to waste my money. Because if I'm not relying on someone to get me in, my uncle, then, I won't want to go as much, because I'm not wasting money. I'm just, I was going for free, basically. So my thought process was, okay, if I buy a gym membership, yes, I could cancel it. However, excuse me, I'd be out about $100, I think, because they're signing up. There was like a processing fee, and then you have to pay for the first month. So that was like about $100, and then after that, it was about $40 a month. So I figured, if I'd be out of $100 if I just canceled the membership. But if I didn't, then I wouldn't be out of $100. Yes, I would be out of $40 every month. But as you know, if I'm using it, the gym membership, every day, which I did go 5 times a week. I still go about 5 times a week. It just depends. I mean, some weeks I need a little bit more rest than others, and other weeks I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's go. I got a lot of energy this week. I want to hit a bunch of stuff. I mean, don't overtrain, but sometimes it is, if you have the energy and you're not sore in your muscles and you're recovering really fast that week, I personally, I feel like hit it again. If your body's recovering very quickly one week, and then in another week it's like, oh, you need rest. Rest. Listen to what your body needs, but don't don't push yourself. Not worth it. Believe me, been there, done that. But yeah. So I bought the gym membership, went 5 times a week, and that would be 11 months ago as of today, because I bought the gym membership April 13th of last year. And then today's the 13th. Yeah, today's March 13th. So I got one more month, and then I'll be here in the gym. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of like how I started getting into it. My uncle introduced me, and then, like I said, I quit at some point, and then I got back into it myself. And when I did buy the membership, shortly thereafter, my best friend, Dylan, he decided, he used to do calisthenics for a while, but he wanted to get into like strength training and stuff. So he figured, let's go together. So he bought the gym membership too. And that's kind of like how I started out. I mean, I didn't really like going to the gym if he didn't come with me, or if I didn't have someone else to go with me. So it was more like, okay, well, if he doesn't want to go today, then I'm not going to go. So then if he didn't want to go for three out of the 5 days that we're lifting, then I'm only going to go like twice a week. But I mean, eventually we did both get into a good routine where we were going every day, 5 times a week. And then it did get to a point where it's like our schedules kind of stopped lining up. I mean, for a good solid few months, it was good. We had a good thing going. Then our schedule stopped lining up. Or there were some times where it's like he didn't want to go, but I already drank my pre-workout, or I just really want to go that day, and I had no one else to go with. So it was kind of like, let's just go. And at first it was uncomfortable. I didn't like going by myself. It was weird. I just felt out of place, out of character. Because keep in mind, I was fresh into the gym. Still didn't hardly know anything. I mean, of course now I know more than I did before, but can I call myself a professional? No. Can I call myself a trainer? No. But it was out of place for me. I wasn't quite big of a fan of it. I didn't really like going solo, but I mean, I like going solo now, but I also like having a buddy lifter too sometimes. So I could, get a spot, or, assisted reps or whatever. I mean, it is nice. I mean, people, you know, whatever works for you works for you. If you have a good system with a friend of yours, you guys go, you know, however many times a week, 3 to 5 times a week, hopefully. And, you know, you guys, you know, you do push each other. You both love each other's company, enjoy each other's company. I mean, if it's good for you, it's good for you. I mean, if you're a solo lifter and you've tried working out with people and you just prefer not to, which, you know, I don't blame you. I mean, sometimes, like I said, I don't always like going to someone, and other times I do. I mean, if you're a solo lifter and you just don't enjoy working out with someone else, you know, it's not for you. Just go solo. I mean, some people, I see groups of people in the gym all the time, you know, especially like teenagers. Sometimes, yeah, older people, I'll see like groups of 3, 4, 5. I mean, frequently too. So, I mean, then, you know, there's those groups. I don't know how serious they are at lifting. I just feel like, especially like the teenagers, I feel like they kind of just go hang out, not really lift. You know, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I'm not saying don't stop. You know, if it's good, if it's beneficial, do it. You know, I can't tell you what to do because I don't know what works for you. I know what works for me, and I can tell you this works for me. And you could try it if you want. You could, you know, don't try it because, you know, if I were to say, for this exercise, you know, I like doing this one thing, and it's like you try and it's like, oh, I don't feel it. I don't feel it. Example, cable rows. Every time I've tried doing cable rows, I don't really feel it on my back, and then the couple reps out of the whole set, I feel it in my back. It's hardly there. For whatever reason, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. I feel my lats better during lat pull downs. So I do those instead, and I just do a few extra sets instead of doing lat rows, the lat cable rows. And other people, it works great for them. You know, I can't, you know, I could tell you, you know, I don't like cable rows because they don't work for me. But if you were to sit down and try it, and it works for you, and it's the best squeeze or the best contraction you've ever had for any type of back movement like that, then don't stop doing it, you know? But I mean, I've been with a personal trainer before. I was worked with him for a few months. I just recently stopped the membership for that or whatever. But, you know, a few different times we did try cable rows, and every time, you know, he tried a few different ways. Like, he at one point had me sit on like a yoga block to see if that could like help me, you know, gain some extra height to possibly feel it better. Tried it, didn't work. Eventually I just started feeling on my front delts, and I was definitely felt like I was pulling more with my arms and not necessarily my lats. But versus lat pull downs, even back then I felt my lats not on the cable rows, but I did with lat pull downs. And, you know, it's the same thing for me now. I just feel them better on pull downs versus rows. For me, rowing movement, I just feel it more in my upper, you know, my traps, rear delts, rhomboids, whatever. I don't, if I were to try, no, those are for machine rows. Machine rows, I don't feel it at all in my lats. It's all upper. Doesn't matter the grip or the seat height. It's all upper. But, I mean, you know, I can't tell you what works for you. If you haven't tried it, you know, try it, see if it works for you. But, yeah, I mean, I like going to failure. I like having buddies sometimes assist me to go past failure if I can't do it myself. It is nice. But, you know, I do like solo lifting quite a bit. It definitely, I mean, I'm in the gym, depending on it, I'm in the gym less time, or potentially more time, because sometimes your buddy doesn't, like, I know my friend Dylan, sometimes he doesn't have the energy to do like the full regimen for that day, because we both go by about the same regimen, the same routine. Sometimes he doesn't have the energy to do all of it, but I have the energy to do all of that plus more, because my body's like fully recovered. It's I just got a lot of energy that day, and I just want to really destroy a muscle group. Like today for legs, which I've just been driving around, but I'm gonna pick him up here soon. We're gonna go hit legs. He told me he doesn't really want to be there. It's too long today. Which is understandable. He's tired. He has a life too, and he works. I mean, I work as well. But he said he only wants to be there for like an hour, hour and a half. I said that's fine. I mean, the leg day I do, I showed him a screenshot of it because I just updated my leg day a little bit. And he said, that's a lot. I said, it looks like a lot, but it's really not. I'd have to look at it to be more specific, but like maybe 3 or 4 different quad movements. I really like destroyed my quads. I love it. The feeling is just, it's unreal for me. It hits different, and I just feel like that's what works best for me, is if I do at least 3 to 4 different quad movements. And then I think like maybe 2 or 3 hamstring movements. And then, if I'm feeling like, feeling a little bit frothy, I don't know, saucy, I guess I should say. If I'm feeling saucy or frisky, whatever you want to call it, I'll hit might do some deadlifts, just to do like a kind of like a general type of thing. I mean, depending on the form you get, it's like RDLs. So, on a leg day, I kind of do it more like an RDL. Or I could do like hip thrusts. Those, I mean, it's definitely a weird setup, especially as a guy. But I don't mind doing them. I have done them, and I like doing them. But if I have the energy, I'll do them. I mean, if not, as long as, you're doing some type of squat movement, it's still going to work your glutes in some type of way. So, calves too. You got to train your calves. It's like any other muscle group. If you want large calves, you got to train them. And I got like maybe 2 calf movements. Sometimes I don't even do both. As long as you're just working intense, you don't need to have a high volume set or high volume exercise routine. And then, I mean, I don't always do them, abductors and adductors. Those, it's nice to train them sometimes. I don't always do them. It's more of just like do I want to do it? Do I have the extra energy, or do I feel like it? Otherwise, I just do like about the 4 quad movements, about 2 hamstring exercises, calves, maybe some glutes. Just kind of depends how I'm feeling. I told him it seems like a lot. It's really not. But, I don't blame him. You don't always want to be in the gym that long. It's cool. I don't really care. But, I don't know. I was looking at a text he sent me. Sorry about that. I mean, that's really about it, I suppose, on like my opinion with lifting with a buddy. Going to failure and whatnot. Whether you want to listen to my opinion and my advice, or I don't even know if I did give some advice. Whether or not you want to listen to it, up to you. Like I said, I can't tell you what to do and how to work out. You know what works for what works for you. I mean, if like I said, if you haven't tried it, it doesn't hurt to try it, and if you don't like it, don't do it. Listen to your body. If it doesn't work for you, you're not feeling it, or if it's uncomfortable, don't do it. I've done it before, and it's just like with the whole cable rose thing. Like I said, I've done them before, and the times I've done them, I felt like it was a waste of energy, because I've done them so many times, but I just don't feel it on my lats. So I just kind of feel like it's a waste of energy and a waste of my time, and it's like, why am I doing it? Even though I'm well aware I don't feel it in my lats, or more anywhere. I mean, I don't know if don't got the mind muscle connection for it or what, but you know what works for you, so you take your own advice. Just, don't injure yourself. I mean, you know what works for you, so, you don't gotta listen to me. I'm just speaking. But yeah, I mean, that's really about it. I'm gonna go pick up my friend. We're gonna go do some legs. If we got time, maybe some abs. If not, then I'll train him at home. It's really not that hard. I'll probably just do like some planks and ab crunches. Maybe some Russian twists. I mean, I like doing those with weighted. I like doing weighted Russian twists better. And then body weight ab crunches, I already have a hard time kind of doing an ab crunch or like a sit-up. So it's, those I don't really do weighted. Russian twists, I can hold my weight a little bit more. So, you go back and forth. I like doing it with a medicine ball that's weighted. Makes it a bit more difficult for me. But, I mean, you don't really got to train core like with 100 different exercises, As long as you're just doing it intense, you only need a couple. I mean, for me, planks, I haven't trained core that much in the past several months, unfortunately, but now I'm gonna like start making a big deal out of it, just because I know I need to have good balance. That's something I don't have, and I am in the middle of trying to train for some calisthenics, so I'm not just pure strength. I'm like a good mix. I got strength, and I got actual usable and flexible mobile muscles, and not just like, because you got your people who can bench press 225, or you got your people who can do I don't know. Let me think. You got your people who could do, your basic 3 sets of 10 pull-ups. And then you got your calisthenic people. They can just sit there, do pull-ups all day. Or they can do a muscle-up. Muscle-ups are hard. I mean, those you actually genuinely have to train for. But, I'm trying to do both. Just so, like, my muscles, on one side they're strong, on the other side I can actually use them how they're meant to be used. Like with your quads, I'd say, this is just a complete estimated number. I have no idea if it's true. Probably 70 to 80% of lifters train quads in the shortened position. Calisthenic people who do calisthenics, they train them more often than not in the lengthened position. The lengthened position, if you train them in the lengthened position, your quads, you'll be able to properly use them, and I have done them. Sissy squats is definitely a big one to do. I've done them, and I definitely feel like my legs are a lot more usable. But anyway, I'm gonna go pick up my friend, go hit some legs, probably do some abs, maybe a little cardio, whatever we've got time for. Definitely legs though. But you take care, and figure out what the next video will be about. And take care.